Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. This week's Build of the Week episode focuses on one of the most popular builds that has been used by Path of Exile players during the Sacrifice of the Vaal expansion, the Elemental Buzzsaw. We briefly covered this build in the episode that focused on the top 5 winners of our recent 2-week race. That video's explanation of this build was very short, and considering how influential it has been over the last few months, we felt that Elemental Buzzsaw deserved a full-length episode. The character shown in this video is created on our internal testing server, but is based on the version described in a build guide written by Mathil, who is often credited with pioneering this build. His guide is linked in the description of the video and has almost 700,000 views so far. The core of this build is using Spectral Throw with a fast weapon and the 2 flat elemental damage auras, Wrath and Anger. To maximize damage, you should value attack speed and weapon elemental damage above all other mods on your items. For your weapon, speed is the most important property. A good benchmark is 2 or more attacks per second on your weapon. A rapier with base type jeweled foil and a single good attack speed bonus is generally sufficient by itself, but any additional elemental damage you can stack on the weapon will be magnified many times. The support gems used with Spectral Throw are lesser multiple projectiles, faster attacks, life leech, blood magic, and weapon elemental damage. If you only have access to a 5-link item, then faster attacks is the easiest gem to remove. The most important auras are Wrath and Anger. These are socketed into the Alpha's Hell helmet for the +2 aura bonus and cheaper mana reservation. Most of the character's damage comes from these auras. The specific trick that this build uses is to take the flat damage from Wrath and Anger, scale it up with many different bonuses, and then apply this elemental damage as frequently as possible to many targets. In addition to these 2 critically important auras, the build typically uses 3 other auras, Haste and 2 of the Purity auras. It's possible to use other auras such as Grace if you're running a variant of this build. Because these auras consume the entire mana pool, the Blood Magic support gem is used on everything that the player casts, from Spectral Throw to Whirling Blades to the Elemental Weakness Curse. Mathil's version of this build uses Lightning Coil for defense, which we've discussed several times in previous videos. The physical to lightning damage conversion combined with Purity of Lightning and a Topaz Flask provides a substantial defense against physical attacks. The Elemental Buzzsaw build is good at killing Atzeri, so it's recommended to do Atzeri runs until you get an Atzeri's Promise, which is a very useful unique flask for this character, because it increases your elemental damage while also adding some chaos damage to your attacks. It's possible to build this as either a Scion, Ranger, or Shadow. Mathil's build guide explains the relevant considerations of this choice. The version we're showing here is a Shadow and allocates a lot of attack speed, projectile speed, and elemental damage. Most importantly, it allocates all the good aura clusters as well as inner force. These uniformly affect both offense and defense. Resolute Technique is the only keystone passive used. This is an extremely popular build, so the community have deeply explored several variations that are worth trying as well. Check out the forums for more information. A lot of people like this build because it's a good one to start with if you don't have the resources for an expensive build. It doesn't heavily depend on items, but certainly benefits from the better items you'll find as you reach higher levels. It has proven popular with new players because it's easy to follow the guide, and it doesn't get tripped up by the unavailability of specific uniques. Mathil points out that in order to be a true Elemental Buzzsaw character, you must use the Seraph Spectral Throw microtransaction effect. He created this build, so he knows what he's talking about. The Buzzsaw name itself comes from the distinctive look of the microtransaction. Next week's Build of the Week episode will be the final one in Season 2. As usual, we'll be picking it from the class forums on pathofexile.com. Thanks very much for watching, see you next time.